With federal regulatory action stalled, something interesting has been happening at the state level, and it's worth paying close attention to because states are increasingly becoming laboratories for food policy innovation, and the momentum is building in ways that could eventually force national change. Over the past few years, multiple state legislatures have introduced bills targeting synthetic food dyes, and while most haven't passed yet, the number and scope of these efforts is growing. Let me walk you through what's happening and why it matters. California has been particularly active, with several bills introduced that would ban certain artificial colors in foods sold in the state or require warning labels on products containing them. Given California's size and economic importance, if California passes restrictions, manufacturers often comply nationally rather than maintaining separate formulations for one state. This is what happened with various chemical and labeling regulations in the past. California's standards effectively became national standards because it's cheaper to reformulate everything than to segment production. New York, Massachusetts, and several other states have introduced similar measures. Some bills focus specifically on foods marketed to children, which is a politically smart approach that's harder for opponents to argue against. Who's going to stand up and say it's important to be able to sell artificially colored junk food to kids? Other bills take a broader approach, requiring disclosure or restrictions across all food categories. The bill language varies. Some propose outright bans on specific dyes in certain product categories. Others would require warning labels similar to what Europe mandates. Still others focus on government procurement, prohibiting schools and other state institutions from purchasing products with artificial colors. This last approach is particularly interesting because it doesn't restrict consumer choice, but uses government purchasing power to create market pressure. Testimony records from legislative hearings reveal the battle lines. Public health advocates, parent groups, and some medical professionals testify in favor of restrictions, citing the behavioral effects evidence and the availability of safer alternatives. Industry representatives and their trade associations testify in opposition, arguing that the dyes are safe, that reformulation is costly, that consumer choice would be restricted, and that state-by-state requirements create an impossible patchwork of regulations. The lobbying is intense. Food industry groups pour resources into opposing these bills, hiring lobbyists, funding political campaigns, and mobilizing retail and manufacturing businesses to argue against restrictions. The amounts of money spent on lobbying around these seemingly simple bills is staggering and gives you a sense of how much is at stake financially for manufacturers. Progress has been slow but is accelerating. Bills that failed in previous sessions are being reintroduced with modifications. More states are joining the effort each legislative cycle. Sponsors are getting better at building coalitions and navigating the legislative process. Even when bills don't pass, the repeated introduction and hearings keep the issue visible and increase pressure on companies to act voluntarily. Advocacy group inputs have been crucial. Organizations like Environmental Working Group, Center for Science in the Public Interest, and various parent advocacy groups have provided research support, organized constituent pressure, and helped draft legislation. They're also coordinating across states to share strategies and language. State legislator quotes reveal that many sponsors are driven by constituent concerns. Parents reaching out about their children's behavioral problems and experiences removing dyes are powerful motivators. Legislators see this as a common-sense consumer protection issue that shouldn't be partisan. The U.S. map showing bill status reveals growing activity particularly in the Northeast, Mid-Atlantic, and West Coast, but with scattered efforts in other regions as well. No state has successfully passed comprehensive restrictions yet, but several have come close, falling just short in committee votes or final passage. The pattern is clear. Even though these bills aren't passing yet, they're gaining ground. Each legislative session sees more bills introduced, more serious consideration, and closer votes. Industry opposition remains fierce, but public support is strong. Eventually, possibly within the next few years, a state will break through and pass meaningful restrictions. When that happens, other states will likely follow quickly, and manufacturers will face the choice of complying everywhere or trying to maintain state by state formulations. For anyone who cares about this issue, state level action represents the most realistic path to near term change. Federal action seems politically impossible right now, but states can move. Contacting state legislators, supporting advocacy organizations working on these bills, and showing up at hearings all make a difference. This is where the policy battle is actually being fought right now, and it's a battle that activists and concerned parents might actually win.